Alright, Muichimotsu, redoing my request of my champ teams. There's Raichu, there's Nidoqueen, there's Graveler, and there's Kadabra, and Charizard. Unfortunately, I didn't give enough pause, and Gyarados. I decided to go through those. Raichu, my electric type, and probably the only time I've ever used a Raichu. And probably the time I ever will again. Nidoqueen, competitive enough. I was imitating Gary Oak, to be honest, but regardless, there it is. There's a Nidoqueen, very nice type. Graveler, the electric type neutralizer, pretty much. That was his only function. Kadabra, psychic type, very versatile, and in blue he was, yeah, pretty good. He didn't nearly get leveled up to Charizard level, but I will admit, with Charizard, I used Rare Candies to get him to 46, so you can learn Flamethrower, so you can actually be competitive against fucking Jinx. Then again, I also taught him Fire Blast and something else, but that might be later. And Gyarados, this one, it's hard to say if I've ever not used Gyarados in my team, except maybe in Sapphire. Then there's Red Gyarados, that's a whole other ball game. Here's Yellow. Not much of a difference, but here we go. I used a Blastoise. Yeah, the only time I've actually used a Blastoise. And no, I didn't start off. This is Yellow. You can get a Squirtle. Graveler, yet again, we have the theme of my Gravelers. And Kadabra. That's a theme that's pretty much persistent, except in Sapphire. Jolteon. I've used this twice. I used it in Fire Red as well. Jolteon's very good. I didn't use my Pikachu for long. Snorlax owns. Enough said. He's pretty cool. And Charizard, very epic looking. My fire type, which I actually taught something useful or different. Alright, here's Silver. Ampharos. I use this in both versions. Now, if my subscribers are thinking of anything, I'll probably, depends. I'll have to talk to my subscribers about keeping both these videos up. This is, Fear. I really didn't use it that much. It was just a flyer. That sort of thing. But I actually beat the Hall of Fame with, I got the Hall of Fame with that thing. It's not very good. And then there's the Red Gyarados. I really should have raised it higher, but I was lazy and somehow managed to beat the Elite Four with these. Why did I keep it on there so long? There's Graveler. Yeah, if you've observed, there's been a Graveler in every one of my teams so far. I think I only changed it up in Sapphire. Sapphire is my case study. There's Typhlosion. Cyndaquil owns, and Typhlosion owns even more. Ever seen The Legend of Thunder, anyone? That's where Typhlosion is pretty popular. And last but not least is the Kadabra. Which, yeah, again, the theme is persistent. If I do my planned Let's Play of sorts, I'll probably still have a Kadabra. Here's Gold. Yeah, I actually recently beat this. The day I upload this is actually the same day I beat Gold's Elite Four, and with a pretty decent team, I might add. Took me a good 2 or 3 hours to raise these guys to the levels they were before they actually went through the Elite Four. Ampharos again. The Red Gyarados. He takes the longest to level up, though. Alright, there's Quagsire. Yes, Gold is another one of my deviations. I decided to actually competitively train a Salamander. There's Kadabra. This theme is just not broken until Sapphire. Graveler. Again, a theme that virtually I was almost not going to break it in Sapphire, but I found a much better Pokemon in Sapphire for my ground type. Yeah, Typhlosion, he's awesome. You'll notice that theme as well. I never was without one of the fire types as in their final form, Charizard or Typhlosion. I was never without them. Either I started with it or I actually just appropriated it. Yeah, the Hall of Fame data in my Sapphire game was corrupt, so I decided to do this. Yes, the Plusle. This is something I wish I would have done with everyone else, but the Hall of Fame, well, in theory I could have done this with the other games, but we'll see if I have the time to go through it, but I don't know. Yeah. Of course, this is actually, yeah, People can't really accuse me of hacking, because, well, if I was hacking, you'd probably see evidence of it, but no, my blood, sweat, and tears went into this, to use the very cliche phrase, but yes, I've spent days in playtime putting these things together, putting these teams together. You'll notice I don't think there was a single Pokemon that was in the older teams that actually persisted. Literally nothing was the same. It was always something different. Good thing, though. Generation 3 tends to do that. It makes you want to have a completely different team. Alright, I actually have the save state for my Fire Red game, and here we go. The last team. Until I get... Well, you'll see my Pokemon Crystal team build as I get it. Of course, this is also a deviation. I got a Hitmonlee and competitively tried to train it. But alas, it kind of failed after a while. And I also tried Dugtrio instead of Graveler. I forget that. But there's the themes for you. Charizard, Kadabra, and Gyarados are some of the probably the ones that persisted the most throughout 90% of these. And I decided to leave the end of this little thing of mine in a little, just keeping this scene at the end. I actually liked Fire Red and Leaf Green. I haven't actually played Leaf Green in detail yet, but there you go. I hope you enjoyed this little commentary, which is probably one of the things I've done the most on my YouTube channel. And I hope the subscribers I do have, which I believe at this moment are a number of 3. 3 people. Anyway, hope all my subscribers enjoy this. Hope anybody who stumbles across this enjoys looking at these teams, because, well, I beat some of these by the skin of my teeth. Skin of my ass, whatever. But, yeah. Maybe I can inspire you if you look at them. Take it easy. See you later.